Yeah, we'll just give it a couple more minutes and then we'll dive in. I'm super excited to have this conversation and let it spread like throughout the Compass community. You've been on the news and on all these other meetings. I'm just grateful to have you on this.
Thank you.
We'll
Yeah,
wait
it's
to
been a
talk
little
about all
crazy.
your media tour. Right at the time that I was like introduced to you and heard about yours was around the same time that I heard about Erin Kruger in Nashville, who also wrote a book about culture and team building and whatnot. And I was just like, oh, wow, this is just a thing now, like, agents putting together books, but it's remarkable. I really like, I was able to meet her. She came in town for a mastermind meeting, and I'm curious to hear kind of how that whole tour. Did you work with a publisher? This, that, it's exciting.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then like my book came out coincidentally the same time that the actress came out with her documentary. So we both my book, which is the deaf culture, came out with her thing. So that I think that helps too.
No way. Okay.
And and timing, not even on purpose. It just coincidentally happened that way.
Did it probably amplified obviously everything, right?
Yeah, because right now, like the deaf culture is kind of in the news and the media and things like that. So I think that helps.
So nice. All right, well, let's kick off. Just a quick announcement, and Trisha actually mentioned it, right away. I think one of the staple events, and I'll drop it here in the chat. I usually try to be active in the chat, throughout. Let me see if I can pin this so we can kind of click through, important clicks or important links rather, as we navigate this conversation. But, a few years ago, 4 years ago or so, came up with the concept of connecting the dots, which launched in the Florida region. Since then has really expanded throughout the entire country. The idea for agents to come together, network, drive value through panel discussions, breakout sessions, and have a whole lot of fun, I think is really what we love here at Compass. So we're going to be bringing Connecting the Dots in our 4th Compass Cup charity golf tournament to Jupiter. Maria, hopefully we can find a way to get you either at that event,
yeah, that would be awesome.
Florida somehow, some way for something. But I know a lot of those on the call have either been on panels on Connecting the Dots events or have attended one. I think most of the Compass community has actually attended one at this point, which is so cool to see it spread like that. So we're going to bring that back in such a big way and bring it to Jupiter. We were there last year and it was a really great success. So we're going to switch it up a little bit and the content and kind of the way to really push heavy networking. I think that's been the feedback. So that's the link. We're going to continue to build it out. If you're looking to connect me with sponsors or you're interested in coming into town, just reach out to me directly and I'm happy to give you the information. I'm going to drop Maria's information in here because I think, as we navigate the conversation, it's always fantastic to follow her and everything that she has going on. So let me just put her, important links and pin those to the top. Okay, great. For now, for our featured presentation, one of the most special things about this is building community and really getting to hear about people's stories, kind of how they, essentially grew up in the industry. And this is certainly one that I haven't had the opportunity to hear this type of path and what Maria has been able to overcome in her life to become a top producing, consistent real estate agent. What's so cool about Compass too is, I see Bill and I see many other sales managers and brokers on the call is, our sales management organization led by John Billick nationally. It's like one big family. The way that we talk to each other and the way that we get connected to agents who have inspiring stories. They need help with marketing strategies. They need to connect for referral opportunities. And this was one of those ways that I was able to get in touch with Maria. And I thought it was so exciting. She had just put out a book and we're going to hear all about Maria. So without further ado, welcome to Compass Conversations, Maria.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so grateful.
And I'm so excited.
Like I said, West Coast, it's always so special for me to have someone that's willing to get up a little bit earlier, start their day with us at 9 a.m. Eastern time. As we do in these conversations, it's usually the flow of your journey into the business, vision, present day, and vision for the future. So, let's start with your journey into real estate. Did you always think you were going to be a realtor? Take us through kind of that time and that aha moment where you stepped foot in becoming a real estate agent.
So I was driving with my parents to their closing, and then so I was only like 12 years old, and so when I went there, I noticed that they weren't really understanding the paperwork because there was no interpreter there back then, and so I just jumped in and started interpreting for them, and I think that seeing them struggle with communication and not understanding that made me think, okay, I'm never going to do that in anyone's life. Like, I'm going to make sure that they know what they're doing and they're like listening differently. And then I always help them with their finances and the mortgages. And so I always liked that. And I think that I was a teen mom. And so I was having a baby at 16. I'm like, okay, I need to get a good job. So I went right into finance and real estate because I needed it. And then I realized, oh, you know what? I actually love this. And I've been at 33 years so far.
That's unbelievable. So you had no choice but to find a way to succeed, especially like you said, being a teen mom early on, and also navigating, this for your parents. I think some people listening are like, okay, like I think they got the idea. They probably saw the promotional efforts we put out, but your book is out now. I just dropped the link, Raised in Silence by Maria Gallucci. What growing up as a child of deaf adults, CODA, which I learned obviously as reading, taught you about communication, culture, and connection. Tell us about your story. The inspiration behind writing this book is phenomenal. The rewarding feeling you must have for what you've been able to accomplish is spectacular. But tell us about your story so everyone can really hear kind of what you've been able to overcome and accomplish.
Yeah, so I was, this is 15 years actually in the making. So every year I had it on my New Year's resolution to finish this book, literally every single year. So finally this year, I'm like, okay, it's 2025. I have to just finish it. And so I started the publishing and the editing process in January, and then it just got released. So it took that long, even though I've had 15 years of content. So I think Raised in Silence was just born by a lifetime of experiences growing up with deaf adults, and I lived in two worlds, basically spoken language and sign language, which I think gave me a unique perspective on communication, culture, and empathy towards people. So I think it was just honoring my parents and honoring the deaf and hard of hearing community and their culture.
So I'm curious, as someone who obviously, and I think most on the call just haven't spent a lot of time, realizing this. It was, funny. I was watching the show Black Rabbit, and there was a character in there who was signing, and he was like a mob boss. So it sounds like you've seen it as well.
Yeah, I've seen it. So yeah, someone text me right away. He's like, Maria, this person is deaf. I'm like, oh yeah.
Right. I'm curious, and I see you, like, is it just common instinct now that you're like signing, whether you're talking to someone that might be deaf or not?
It is. I sometimes catch myself signing to hearing people because it's just my first language. So ASL is what I do, or I'll think that I'm like talking in sign language. So I do that all the time because it's like two different worlds.
Yeah, and I think the only other thing that, if someone is not, isn't fluent in sign language and they see it, and it's like a Super Bowl performance where they kind of have, someone signing in the corner, or an important, worldly event, they have usually someone signing in the corner. So, I think everybody's been like at least around it or seen it or knows someone that's had to go through it. But for you growing up, two deaf parents, I mean, take us through it. It was, honestly shocking to read a little bit and hear that, hey, like this is what you learned first was signing with your parents. Take us kind of through that and how you've been able to kind of grow and expand. And then I want to talk more about body language and everything that comes with it.
Yeah, I think that I saw them get made fun of a lot and be isolated a lot. And that community is actually a very underserved community. And so I think seeing them struggle with confidence and feeling out of place or feeling different because we did sign, because we got stared at a lot all the time. We still do, even if we do sign. And I think that I wanted to write the book to make it, or to have awareness that it's okay to be different, and it's okay to help people who aren't different. You don't have to be perfect, but if you just try, I think it makes a world of difference in a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, and you coined that phrase right there, just try. What has been the reaction to the book? I've seen the quotes. The website's incredible from kind of hearing from people who've, seen it, and, to reference, Robert, you said Maria's story will change how you think about communication and what it means to show up for people on their terms. It's pretty strong words. How does that make you feel, and kind of what's been the reaction from the book?
It's surreal and incredibly emotional. And when he wrote that, I actually cried, because to see people connect with my parents and my parents' story and my journey and the message of showing up for people on their terms is, I think, the most rewarding thing that I've ever done. And being named the best-selling author was just the cherry on top.
Yeah, absolutely. Congrats. So take us through like the logistics now. So you said this was a New Year's resolution. You finally got around to it. It's come out, and the reaction, you're on TV, you're on, numerous podcasts, you're talking in meetings throughout the country, Compass and beyond. Where did you get started? How did you hire a publisher? A lot of people on here are like, have that idea, but it's that effort and kind of like how much goes into it. It's a lot. So tell us how you were able to tackle it.
It is. So I even, when I updated my phone, I found my notes from like 2007. So I had like all these like notes for the book. And so I did hire a publishing company, because so I'm self-published, but I hired the editors and all that stuff. So the whole process went through 8 layers of editing. So you give them all of the information, the book, and then they edit it. And then it goes through another section. So that's why it took so long. So they thought it would only take like six months, but the deaf culture, you have to be very, very careful not to insult anybody. And so there's terminology that you have to use. There's the way that you communicate that you have to use. So we had to go through a lot of extra layers just to make sure that nobody was insulted or their feelings would get hurt. So we went through all of that, and then we uploaded it on Amazon and Instacart. So now it's on Barnes and Noble. I don't know if you guys have a Tatter cover where you guys are, but Tatter covered every book form right now. I was top new release within 24 hours. And then now I've been holding on to the best selling author so far.
Congrats again. I mean, it really is remarkable, and it's not easy, right? You put a lot of hard work, and you've, again, like experienced this your entire life. So to kind of put it out in book format for everyone to experience, and like you said, just try and go for it. It's inspiring to say the least. How they have like audio books for most books. Do you have a version of your book where you sign it?
Well, coincidentally, I just uploaded the audio version today. So Amazon takes a few days for it to actually go on there. And then the hardcover is being released today as well. And then I'm one of the only ones that we know of that is actually going to have the book interpreted. So that's already on the way. We're waiting for the audio to get released so he can listen to it while he's interpreting. So we are going to actually have an interpreted video of it.
That's amazing. I can't wait to check it out. Speaking about visuals, and I'll drop the link in here, this video that you put out, and when we think of what we do from a video standpoint and how important it is in terms of content creation and what people are digesting now, it seems like as they say, the term content is king or queen, or content creation is something you have to do. This video you put out with a client of yours, and you're signing and the subtitles. Tell us when did you produce that? What's the reaction from that? Because I watched the whole thing like 3 times. I thought it was amazing. The chicken's in the background. The home is very cool.
Oh, that's Kathy. I know who you're talking about. Yeah. So that was I think a few years ago, or a couple of years ago, and that's actually one of my good friends and clients. And so I wanted to make sure that people can see that we can communicate easily. And I think that just learning like basic signing and being able to, I am really good friends with a lot of my deaf and hard of hearing clients, actually. So I feel more comfortable signing than I do speaking. And I think it's because it's my first language and I was raised in that culture. And so that video was a lot of fun. I loved that one.
I'm curious to just backtrack. So like growing up and kind of, again, like you're multilingual early on because of, ASL and English. Did you speak any other languages?
No, but I was in Spanish for 13 years, kindergarten all the way through senior, and I did not retain any of it. But if I hear, like, I can understand some words and I can pick them up, but no, I could have been like 3 languages if I had stuck with it.
Yeah, I know. I should know more than what I know now, living in Florida since 2008. But I'm working on it. Spanglish is kind of what I call it. But
Yeah, exactly.
I'm curious, like speaking sign language, like early on, like were you the only one in your classes? You know, like communicating with your parents. Like, what was like maybe one of those big things that you really learned from that you now use in your real estate business and negotiations?
Listening with your whole self and knowing that that it's easy just to like reject somebody because you don't know what it is or you don't know like how it is. So I think it really taught me to be aware and like listen with your whole heart instead of just like to make them feel seen and heard. And so we were the only ones who signed in our school. We weren't really raised around CODAs, which is unusual because my parents had deaf friends. And so I think it just taught us to show up for people and be present in the moment.
So great, and it's so important. You know, we as realtors, I feel like to word vomit a whole lot, and I think the reality is when we speak less and we listen more, I feel like we have a lot more success in listing presentations and really just overall business. So it seems like you've had, you know, no choice but to kind of perfect that craft. I'm curious when it comes to body language. It's such an important part of this business and really negotiations. Have you been like, do you feel like you have an upper hand in terms of like reading people because of kind of
I do.
this background? I'm curious to hear a little bit about that. And I know that you work with all different types of communities. You're a supporter and advocate for so many types of communities. You read it on your bio. Tell us a little bit about kind of that community involvement and being able to read people better than most.
Yeah, I think body language tells me everything, especially with a client. I can feel like if they're overwhelmed, confused, or excited because I can see it, or even unsure because when you sign, you're looking at each other and you're communicating with expressions. And like sign language is huge with expressions. Like if people are wearing sunglasses, I have a hard time like communicating with them because I have to see them. And that's how it is. So I think for my real estate career, I think people feel connected to me because I'm able to listen and communicate with them a little bit differently because I had that growing up, the empathy and knowing that we need to listen to them with our whole hearts. Otherwise, we could miss a lot of stuff.
I guess one last thing on the book, and then I really want to dive into the Colorado market, a place that's on my bucket list to visit. With the book, like what would be some advice that you would give to the agents tuning in? You know, what have you learned from it and like what has really come out of it? Have you gotten listings or just conversations that you didn't think you'd be having? I mean, the TV piece was remarkable. You were really good. And it was so cool to kind of see that. But I'm curious, like if someone's on the call now and they're like, you know, I think I got a good story to tell, what would be some advice for them?
I think it would be to just try, like if you see a deaf person, don't just turn away because you don't think you can communicate. Just try with them. And I think in real estate too, there's a lot of agents who actually run into deaf and hard of hearing people. Like don't give up on them. Obviously try to find an agent who could help them, but there's always interpreters everywhere. Like I think that a lot of people just give up because they think that, or they're scared of trying and thinking that they're going to get rejected. And it's not, because if you just put out an effort to them, it's huge with them.
That's interesting. I think it's good. I mean, we have to be accepting of all. And I think that's, you know, it makes such a difference. That's how you get more business is clients trust you and
Connection.
refer people to you. And if we can continue that, then your sphere will grow, your CRM will continue to thrive, and hopefully Compass technology will help you, you know, streamline every effort within. Let's talk Colorado. So you said you're from New Hampshire. What brought you to the West Coast? Talk to us a little bit about that. And then really all of the interesting market trends that you're seeing in your market.
So I came out here when I was 5. And so my mom just moved. It was my 3 older ones. So we were in New Hampshire and she just wanted a different like area. So she picked up us 3 kids, my mom and dad, and they just drove across the US and they landed in Colorado because they loved the Rocky Mountains. So that's how so I'm basically native because I've been here for a very long time. And the Colorado market, I don't know if everyone's getting hit, but we took a big dive this year. And so I have 11 listings just sitting. And that's like unheard of. And I think that we've seen shifts with interest rates, inventories, buyers' behavior, but Colorado, I think, tends to be one of the most desirable. And so we did take a big hit, but I think it's going to recover once people feel like there's a stability in the market. Because right now, I think everyone's just afraid, and no one knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, so and I know people are experiencing the same thing in Florida. The market's been incredibly tough. The one thing that we have seen move quite nicely is this like ultra luxury price point. It seems like
Yeah, ours too.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily dictate by market conditions when you have that much money. But I'm curious, what's the conversations with clients when you have 11 listings? They're obviously putting pressure on you. You're looking to extend, reduce, move inventory. I'm curious, like, is this a price point specific issue? Is it a location issue? Tell us your take on all that.
I'm updating them every Monday. And so my coach Sky had told me, you've got to like text them every Monday. And so so now I'm starting to text them every Monday just to keep them in the loop and make them feel like they're not just left out to dry. And then we try to talk to them about like price drops, but out here we have two different MLSs, so we're able to, that helps in a way to make it like fresh. And we're now, open houses used to not be a thing, and now all of us are doing open houses, and we're doing open houses with other agents. Like if they have like houses on the same street, we're doing them all together, like a block party of open houses. So that seems to bring in some buyers, but I think it's the market. Like, I think you just have to wait. I think it's a waiting game right now, because you can price it low as you want, but if buyers aren't there and buyers are too scared to buy because of the interest rates, I think that's huge. So you just have to wait it out.
Yeah, big shout out to Sky. We all love Sky Michaels.
Yeah.
And I see Avery on the call too, and I think both of our eyes perked up when you said open houses. Open houses, we're putting a whole program together in our markets, really collecting data to build a market intelligence report, because we're very bullish on open house events. Take us through what you're doing for open house events. Are you theming them, the collaboration with other agents? What's been like? Have you seen an uptick in attendance at certain price points? I'm curious to hear your take on open houses.
Yeah, so the collaboration, I think it's fun too, because you don't feel alone, because like when you're in this market, and I think the theming it is a great idea. I should actually talk to them about that for the ones we're having this weekend. We're having like 6 open houses this weekend. So we just make it like you have mimosas, or just make it like a block party, actually, really. And we have been seeing more and more buyers actually, and we're getting more showings on our listings. Our market, the luxury market, is like in Vail, and those places aren't being hit at all. Like they're really busy, because it's people's second home, so they really don't care about the payments. But right now, to buy a house is more than your rent if you rented a place, and I think that's where the buyers are struggling. But we are seeing an upturn on people attending, and I mean, they just want to be collaborative and have fun, and we're just trying to make the open houses fun.
So we were joking earlier, like, you haven't experienced snow. Snow usually hits Colorado come Halloween time. It's always interesting in seasonality of markets, right? Summer in Florida is tough. A lot of people are traveling. I think that might be a little bit overall, but usually, your Northeast markets thrive in places where summer's cool, and they go overseas. And now we're back to this fall, winter, and everyone's feeling that. With snow on the way, people getting excited for ski and snowboard season. Is that your season? Are you guys like really dialed into like this influx of people coming to your markets?
So for the Denver market, we tend to slow down during the holidays, but for the mountain markets, that's their like main thing, because they have all the snow, I think they're called snowbirds or snow bunnies or whatever, that go there. And so it tends to shift between the city and then the mountain markets. But I think if we could just get a break on either like the 50-year mortgage that they're talking about, or an interest rate, I think that's going to bring the buyers off the fence. So I think something has to shift somewhere for the market to start changing.
Yeah, and you've been consistently, a top producing agent, running a top team, and we're talking about adapting to market conditions. You've clearly done it quite well. What's your secret?
Collaboration and service, I think. And so I feel like our team operates like a family. So we hold each other accountable. We're actually really good friends, but my whole team is. And so I think we have like high standards, and we lean into each other's strengths, because my team, we're never in competition with each other. Well, especially me, because I do the deaf and hard of hearing and the LGBTQ plus communities. And well, I do everybody, but those are where my main services are. And so I think that because we don't compete against each other, we throw ideas, we let each other use our marketing, because we're not in competition with each other. And I think that's what makes us one of the top producers and the top producing agents.
It's fantastic. And it sounds like an incredible like think tank that you have as a team. Tell us a little bit about the team structure, how you helped build it. And, you mentioned that you're consistently talking to clients on Mondays. Are you having weekly team meetings? Do you have a WhatsApp chat? Like, tell us all the things that make kind of the structure so successful for your team.
So we have a group chat with each other. So if we have any issues, then we will email each other. I see, I owned a brokerage actually before going over to Compass. So I'm one of the early Compass ones in Denver. And so I moved my whole brokerage over there. So we already had like a stable like team, because I had my own brokerage with them, and they all came with me. We lost a couple when we transferred over there, but we've been at Compass, I think, for 7 years. And there was, I think, only 48 in Denver. Wow. And then now there's a ton, obviously, right now. And so I think that growing as a team has been a blessing, and the continued success, I think, comes from our shared values and our commitment to do things the right way and to help each other if someone's struggling. One of my agents were so upset that this year, like, because it like tanked this year. I mean, even though I still did very, very well, some agents didn't have that. And so she was scared, and she wanted to like quit. And she's been a top producing agent for years. And so I called Stephanie Knight. I'm like, okay, we need to help her to get her mind straight. And so, because she's such a good like agent, I'm like, you can't leave, like, do not give up. This will recover, because the market always covers, it shifts. And so now she's going to the sales meetings, and now she's going to like I think it's like a building classes after the sales meeting. So I think not giving up is huge. Just know that it will get better someday.
Yeah. And you have to keep on putting in the work. I think this one thing I've heard since I joined Compass, and it seems like you're like, just like you, Compass OG. I see Julie Graceberg, Compass OG, like a lot of OGs on this call. And I think that's what makes it so special, is like, it's the long game, right? This business isn't about what's coming tomorrow. It's about what might come the next year or 2, 3, 4, 5. It's always staying consistent, and it seems like you have a good process in place. And I'm sure that team member of yours is going to thrive, because something's got to give, and it will soon in this market. That's for sure. Yeah,
exactly. And I've been working, like I said, Sky's my coach. So we've been working really hard on my CRM, and we never used the CRM. Once we went over there, we got shut down like a year later. And so I never even knew the stuff that was in the CRM. Everybody, the CRM is amazing to work with. There are so many tools in there. So like during slow time, it gives you time to clean up your CRM, like get in contact with people, so you can set up your 2026. And that's what I've been working on. And now talking to Gina and stuff, I've been teaching her, like, just just try and go through your CRM, do anything that you're too busy to do before, because now you have downtime to do that and to set up success for next year.
Facts. Yeah, I think the CRM really, if you use that and really take the time, contact per day, a couple contacts per week, whatever it is, your business will thrive, because really the Compass tools kind of all feed off of the CRM being rich in quality data.
Oh, 100%. Like at Ashley's challenge, that was the best. I was number 7 on that list, by the way, but that was the best challenge I think ever, because it forced you to do that, because you couldn't miss a day, otherwise you'd go down on that list. So like that was actually a lot of fun. I told her that too.
That's awesome. Yeah, the impact challenge.
Yeah, the impact challenge, that was amazing.
It was
Yeah.
awesome to see the leaderboard and agents nationally kind of, continuing to dial into the tools, and clearly the success that came out of it. And it's cool to hear the passion that you have for obviously using the tools and seeing it help you streamline your business efforts and be a bit more efficient. Curious, any other tool? If it's not the CRM, what's your other favorite tool that you use at Compass?
I did not know that you can go into the likely to sells. I didn't know that that was in there, and you could just email them directly from there. And then the one thing that I didn't know is that you could do reverse prospecting. I had no clue that was even in there. And I got answers back too. And so that's what I got 2 listings out of that, the impact challenge and everything that I've been doing. And I got a buyer from the other side that I'm doing as well. But that was a lot of fun. And John Jenkins, I don't know if he's on this, but him and I were texting each other because we'd always be like head to head on that little sheet. And then I jumped up to 4, but he stayed like at 21. He's like, Maria, how did you do that? I'm like, you've got to like do what she's saying.
Likely to sell, I would probably say, is my favorite thing at Compass, something that I use the most. It's such an easy way for me to stay in touch with family and friends and, reference, hey, you want me to send you a quick collection for a real-time market report? They love it. They love the Compass tech. It's so user-friendly. So it's awesome to hear that you picked that as
I had 2,000 in there. At 2,000. So Sky's like, every day you have to do 300 and then you'll be done by next week. So every day I had two assistants. So Rose, Emery, and I all were going in there and emailing 300 of them every day. Now now it's actually normal. I think yesterday I only had like 50.
300's a lot. I used to say like 1 to 3 a day because emails are great, but when you can get someone on a call or FaceTime or in person, I know that everyone here is going to be able to convert that conversation into an opportunity. Curious though, with that type of dialed in approach to assistants, cranking it away at 300 a day, what was the results? Listings, referrals, anything?
It was awesome. I got some referrals. I got some listings, mostly for next year. So my email to them was goals for 2026, and I can share that email that I sent to them. And so a lot of people were responding back. So I got a lot of responses, even like, oh, I love my place, I'll stay there. But they were at least responding to me. I only had 1 nasty email out of the 2,000.
Okay, success. Yeah.
That one was not. That one wasn't a nice one.
Like, that one. We all know about that one. My quick story, and then we'll kind of go into some other stuff here is, I remember someone seeing like, oh, I know that's my cousin, they're on the likely to sell, but I know that they just did something, they're not going to do it. And, you still reach out to that person. You still,
Yep.
call them, and you can just be brutally honest and say, hey, your name came up on Compass's artificial intelligence stating that there's positive market activity in your neighborhood. Too funny, right? And then that cousin started to look at a search, started to realize that if they sold, they didn't realize they could get that much money. They ended up selling, becoming a buyer. There was 2 deals out of it. And that person was like almost halfway down clicking to remove them from their likely to sell. So go after everybody on that list. And there might be that one, but don't let it bring you down. Go through the next 299, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't remove anybody. If I knew it was a situation like that, I sent them a different email. So I still reached out to them, but it was just a different one than the goals of the 2026.
I'm so happy we went into that. Usually it's never brought up on these calls, but I like to tell you can tell passionate about it. And I would love that template to share with the folks.
Yeah, for sure. I'll share with you guys. It's really good.
So one last thing on the Compass initiatives, of course, 3-phase marketing. How have you used that in your market? Has it been beneficial, especially with, like you saying, you're picking up 11 listings, they're not moving. Have you taken things on and off, put it in private exclusive and gone that process with?
I have. And I didn't even know about the 3-phase marketing until I went to Stephanie's office. And I'm like, Stephanie, I have 11 listings. Like, that's like people's dream to have like 11 listings at one time. And I'm like, and if they're just sitting, I'm like, there's got to be something I could do. And then she told me about that. So I pulled off all of my listings and I did the 3-phase marketing. One actually went under contract, and I got more showings on another one. So it did help. And I would have never done that if if I didn't talk to Stephanie about it, because she explained it like so well. And then the concept of it is so good, like to maximize it. And you just have to be transparent, obviously, with your clients. But I did it for all my listings last month.
So the sellers were like, of course, that sounds like a great idea when you pitched them.
Yeah, they were. I was worried about that too, because they're like, what I was worried about is expiring the listing, because they have to sign a new one. I'm like, oh, I really hope they sign it, but they all did. They're like, okay, we'll do whatever you suggest. I'm like, okay.
It's that established trust. It goes a long
Yeah.
way. When it comes to social media, your emails, your outreach, your website, your book website, you do really, really well. We talked a little bit about the video content. Tell us about your marketing mix, your strategy, what's worked, what hasn't worked, what you're leaning into, really everything that makes your marketing so good.
So I have a social media girl now. Her name is Nova. She's amazing. And so she, I believe in storytelling. So I mix professional lifestyles with photography and consistent like social media content, like emotional post or like fun behind the scene post. I was making videos yesterday and I was just kidding throughout all the videos, and I'm not comfortable on video. So like Nova making me do this I've been out of my comfort zone, but it helps. And I think it's good to invest in branding, because people connect with the authenticity and the personality with people. And I think that's what's most important for social media. And the videos have been like, it's been really good to do those one. It's been very successful to do the video contents, which I wouldn't have done before at all.
Has the social media content creation consistency, has that amounted to business success?
It has brought in some referrals, actually. So some referrals for other states, because I'm obviously a CODA, so other agents were looking for people in other states. So it's brought that aspect of it too. And I think eventually it will, once people, you just have to be out there a lot, I think, and then to work, because the algorithms are so weird on Instagram and Facebook. So I think that the more you post, and she does a lot of reels, and so she said that reels are the ones that get people to your website.
That's great. And what's the kind of like capacity in which you're meeting with Nova, you're going over content, and then you're shooting this, and then it goes out? Like, how is that scenario in terms of collaboration with your marketing advisor?
So she posts 4 times a week, and I meet with her every other Monday. And then she has like a little spreadsheet that she does for like a month contact, and anything that we need. Like I've had like this open house this weekend. I think she already posted that one, but she'll add stuff in there that if I need it, so she'll add things in there. And so her plan is already set for the entire month, but it's always changeable. So she tries to incorporate real estate, obviously the book, and my own personal lives, and I think she staggers it.
I think it's all about paying it forward. And the special guest on this Compass Conversations just before you is a special social media guru, Andrew Jevin, who has his own events with the Social Summit.
I needed that guy. Someone at I think it was the 6 a.m.ers were talking about that one, and I couldn't remember his name.
Yeah, he's great.
Can you email that to me?
I'll introduce you. He's such a fantastic guy, and he mentioned that something that's really doing well on social media algorithms right now is, hey, are you moving to Colorado, or are you visiting Colorado? Here's 5 things that you should know about, or 5 things that you should go to or visit. I guess that type of post has been incredibly effective, and there's an opportunity for a viral moment. So maybe you and Nova can get ahead of that. And
that's a good idea
for a future post. 2 last questions here. So you mentioned that you put together a community within Compass. I think everybody on this call is part of one or multiple affinity groups now. I am as well. You've started one. How many people are in? Is it ASL at Compass? What did you name it? And I'm curious to hear kind of like what that's grown into.
ASL at Compass, and we just started it. And I actually don't know, because I still have to meet with my AE, because I don't really know how to work the systems. But I do see people joining it, but I don't really know how to work it yet.
Yeah,
I knew the old like system, but not the new one.
my advice for everybody is, yes, you have to have a Compass Connect, which is a good place to kind of add the members, grow the group, kind of keep almost a place for people to gather or post. However, I've known that like doing these types of events for those groups or getting the WhatsApp going and adding people in is really what will take it to the next level. When the next retreat comes up, find a place for everyone to gather. That's really going to be a good way to get it, to grow and thrive and build that sense of community. But I'm so excited, and whatever I can do to support you and growth, and so excited for this to be a continuous conversation with you and I. I guess one piece of advice for everyone on the call as we wrap up, and then one last question, which is my signature question, but dealing with the deaf community, like you said, it can be incredibly sensitive, but there's a huge opportunity for everyone to capitalize and make them feel, like supported, especially in such a significant decision like real estate. What advice would you give us all?
Always have an interpreter at closing. So I've advocated for years and years and years, because they didn't have interpreters back then. And so I advocated for years and years and years to have one there. I mean, it's okay to do the showings and all that stuff, but always have an interpreter at closing would be my advice. And you always have to have if you're dealing with a deaf or hard of hearing person. Oh, my thing just fell. Hold on. My ears are tiny. Okay, you always have to have a deaf friendly home. And I think a lot of people don't know that. So the kitchen's always open to the living room, so they can communicate while they're socializing and cooking. So that would be another piece of advice, is always to look for a deaf friendly home for them.
That's awesome advice. And I know, like, I'd say to everybody, reach out to Maria, build the connections, ask her for advice and collaboration, sharing each other's posts right now. And like you said earlier on this call, showing up for each other, not just at open houses, but, someone doing an out of market feature on your listings, could appeal to someone in Florida visiting Colorado or someone in the Northeast. So I think we need to take that opportunity to reach out and collaborate like we do at Compass so well. So my final question I ask everybody is, what's your favorite Compass entrepreneurship principle right now, and why?
Collaborate without ego. I think that I'm a big believer that we're better together. And collaboration, I think, is how we grow. Like serving clients is my highest level. So I think that from being a CODA and running a team has shaped me by working with others and lifting each other up, and not like putting us down or like feel like we're taking over. I always let everybody share my listings on the social media, because we need each other to sell our listings. And our main goal, all of our main goal as real estate agent, is getting to the table. And I think if we get to the table together, is a lot better than separate.
I love it. Amazing, inspiring. Thank you so much. I think everybody on this call and in the Compass community would say they're so proud of you for not just your business success, but what you've been able to do to uplift such an important community and drive value, to everyone that you seem to come in contact with. Let's share that same support. I dropped the link for Maria's book, purchase a copy, audio book, like you said, on the way, as well as others, but definitely check out Maria across all the links that I shared, and connect with one another. I think is so important. But thank you a million times over, Maria, for driving.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sure. This is great.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, everyone, have a great weekend. Maria, can't wait to stay in touch with you, and anything I can do to support, here for you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Everyone. Bye.